Our next presentation is about mobility options in the district, and Gavin and Robin will hand it over to you guys for your presentation. Thank you.
Hey everyone, and thanks for having us here today to present. We're very excited to do so. I'm Gavin. I am a grad student. It's my second semester at the Georgetown Urban Regional Planning Program. I'm focusing on transportation planning and economic development during my time here. And when I'm not in my program, I'm in the service industry in the district right now, and I use a variety of education, immigration, and volunteer experience to kind of inform my interest in helping people on the ground with urban planning and mobility and safety initiatives, and excited to talk a little bit about that today.
And hello all, I'm Robin. So I'm also pretty new to the program. It's my second semester.
So Robin, you're going to be presenting on the mobility options
Yes,
segment.
yes,
Do you want to talk a little bit
Um,
about your interest in transportation planning?
Yeah, so I am from Pittsburgh, and I got my bachelor's in history, and we used to have many streetcars, and I liked them very much. So I went to planning school, and that's how I found myself here. How I found myself interested in transportation planning.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So I'm going to preface this by essentially just stating that this is my front yard. This is the intersection that we're going to talk about here at length. Like at large, this is about mobility options, but we're going to look pretty closely at one intersection. And it's the intersection of H Street, Massachusetts Avenue, and then 3rd and 4th. Because it sits right between the law school and the SCS. And when we get to the map, I think you'll see why. So can start by just a little quick number. The pedestrian fatality rate is a bit higher than the national average. And then this is an element of, we zoom it in, and just see right where the highway empties out. And then there's a whole situation. So what you're looking at with this map color-wise is the sidewalk ratios of streets. So redder means closer to 0. And of course, bluer is a high one, in this case, equal 1.0. We also have some of the high injury network roads marked here. The law school's tucked away right in here. The SCS right in here, right in this lovely little pocket. So we have that clarified here in the key, which just disappeared on me. But this map pulls up the traffic volumes of each individual road. You can see the data is from 2019. There was data from 2020 available, presumably heavily impacted by COVID. 2019 seemed more appropriate. But these, if we can get one of them to pull up, each just have the AADT for each road. And when we get one layer closer, pardon, I almost moved on prematurely. There's the little Vision Zero pop-up network, and we have these poking around at various spots where there's little issues to be looked into. So we also wanted to look at some other modes. Gavin, do you want to take over this part?
Sure. And first of all, I will say that, you know, it was definitely a pleasure to work with the open data assignment for this class, and we kind of wanted to use the story of the district at large and how it's improving in mobility and safety, and use kind of the million stories that are available to tell through open data DC maps to tell just one of a really important district, or of a really important intersection, excuse me, in a time when DC is trying to look at downtown revitalization and trying to find ways to enhance multimodal access and accessibility throughout the entire district. And so we kind of wanted to put in the Vision Zero map up there just to underscore that this is already something that I don't have to tell you that the city is already thinking about at this intersection here on how to improve, but also just to underscore the dire need for improvement when you have a district this close to downtown. So moving on, we also wanted to highlight the how the WMATA bus network comes into play here, because this part, Massachusetts, 4th and H, is the site of some of the most heavily trafficked bus routes in the region. The 80 and the X2 both go by there, and the bike lanes also are, I would say, at least in my opinion, as somebody who bikes around the city myself, really important to underscore how multimodal transit is actually being improved upon, because DDOT installed 10 miles of bike lane last year, 7.3 of which are protected. And to me, what bike lanes in downtown signify, and heavily used bus routes signify, that the city is definitely concerned with bringing pedestrians downtown and making it a safe place to be. But what the area here that we tried to focus on does not have any bike lane options whatsoever. We have the 80 and the X2, as I mentioned, that go through the intersection. And there's a bike rack at 3rd, H, and Mass. And there are bike lanes around, and it's very close to NOMA. It's very close to downtown. Highly trafficked pedestrian areas, but how one gets from one area to another seems right now to only be designed with the car in mind. Now, I'll before I kick it back to Robin, I'll just say that DC has, to its credit, an amazing wealth of data that we were able to use for these story map right here. And just talking about bike and pedestrian infrastructure and bus infrastructure in DC, it truly is a city that, in my opinion, having lived in it for 6 years now, is really, really focused on a lot of ways that they can improve and revitalize several different districts. But the area of focus that we wanted to underscore here was to try to show the importance of getting from one place to another when you don't have a car in the district. And I'll kick it back to Robin to conclude.
All right. To wrap it up, I just point out that this is a difficult problem, right? There's a highway on ramp. There's like 6 lanes of traffic coming from H Street and Mass Ave each, not even including 3rd and 4th. I don't know if bikes can be integrated here in a way that's safe at all. But it is very much so a challenge worth pointing out. So with that, I'll conclude the presentation.